Hi mathematicians, we are moving on to some multiplication strategies. Okay, so today we are going to look at what multiplication squares are. So we can use multiplication arrays to find multiplication squares, and I'm going to show you how. Before I do that, I want to review real quick what a factor is and what a product is, because you'll hear me say those two words throughout this lesson. So factors, this one right here, factors are the numbers that are being multiplied together. So if your multiplication sentence was 3 times 1 equals 3, like this, your factors would be the 3 and the 1 right here, because those are the two numbers that are being multiplied together. Okay, so that's what a factor is. And then the product right here is, the product is the answer to that multiplication equation. So again, if we were to use 3 times 1 equals 3, this 3 on the end here, after the equal sign, would be the product, because that is the answer when you multiply the two factors together. So the product is the answer. Okay, so let's find out what multiplication squares are. A multiplication square is an array that looks like a square. We did arrays last unit, and we did them, I always made sure to say, oh, you need to have it look like a rectangle. There can't be any like extras hanging off the side. You know, when we made like our arrays like this, you couldn't have just like one down at the bottom without a pair to go with it. So you're gonna see that on here as well, except when we do multiplication squares, we use the same two factors to make a multiplication square. So if you're going to use a 3, you have to use another 3 to make it a perfect square. Let me show you. So 3 times 3. In order to make that array, I have to make 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3 rows with 3 in each row. So 3 in that row, 3 in that row, and 3 in that row. I want you to notice something. Do you see that I can box in this array perfectly? It's a perfect square. That's a multiplication square, when it turns out to be a perfect square. And we can just count up the x's to find out what 3 times 3 is. Or you can say 3, I know there's 3 in this row, 3 in this row, and 3 in this row. I know how to count by 3s. I can just go count up by 3s. 3, 6, 9. That would be a good strategy to use. Okay, let's try another one. I want to use the number 5. So with a multiplication square, you have to multiply by that same number to find the square. All right, so 5 times 5. I have to have 5 rows with 5 in each row. So I already have 1 in the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, notice here again, I can box in my array perfectly into a square. 5 times 5 is a multiplication square. A strategy that you could use for this, I'm sure all of you know how to count by 5s, so you could use the counting up method of counting by 5. So 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 5 times 5 equals 25. Let's do another one. Let's make it a little bit harder. Let's do 7. Let's do 7. 7 times 7 equals. Okay, so I have to have 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with 7 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, that was a close one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Do you see how it's getting, our arrays are getting bigger as our number increases, whatever number we're multiplying by? So I started off with 3 and it was a pretty small square, and then 5, it got bigger, and look at this one now with 7. This is a huge square, and I can box it in perfectly. Okay, for this one though, I'm not good at counting up by 7s. That's not something that I know right off the top of my head. So we could do a few different things. We could say, well, I know what 7 plus 7 is. That's 14. So I've used 2 of my 7s, and now I just need to have 5 more of them. So we could add 7 and 7 again, and then I could add my 14 and 14. That doesn't seem too bad. So I have 28 now, and I've used 1, 2, 3, 4 of my 7. So now I need to count up 3 more times. So we'll do another 7 plus 7 equals 14. So I need to add that 28 plus 14. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Carry that 1. So, oh, whoops. I wrote a little bit too close together, so I couldn't read my own writing. There we go. So then 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. Okay, so now I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to add 1 more 7. So I'm at 42 now, add another 7. That would give me 9, 49. Okay, and you can check your work by counting up the x's. Make sure that you have 49 x's. If you have a different method that works for you, don't feel like you have to use this specific method or ones that I've named on here. I want you to use what works for you, what works best for you. Okay, so you guys are going to be playing a game today. With multiplication squares. This is just a bigger version of it right here, but this is yours. Okay, so you need a 10-sided dice or some playing cards. If you don't have either of those, that's fine. You'll need to click on the link that I put on the assignment page, and there's a digital dice that you can use. You'll need to click on the 10-sided die to use it. And you'll just roll the dice. You'll see what number it is. And let's say you rolled a 2. So you would come down here to your page just like I did and write off to the side 2 times 2 equals, well, we don't know yet. Then you'd make your array. 2 rows with 2 in each. Box it in, make sure it's a square. And then you'd know, well, there's 4 x's, so 2 times 2 equals 4. You'll come back up here and you'll look for that answer on the line on this bottom row right here. I see a 4 right there, so I would take my tool, my pen tool, and color in one of the boxes. And then you just continue that. You can play with a family member. You don't have to, though. You can play by yourself and it'll still work. But you'll either take turns rolling the dice and doing that same thing until one of the columns is filled. So you'll find that one of them you might roll a few times and you're going to fill that one in until one of them gets up to here. Okay, so like up here I did my 3s and I did 5s and 7s. So look, I know that the 3s, those equal 9, the 5s equal 25, and the 7s equal 49. So if I were to get those on my dice, I would have filled in a 25, a 9, and what did I say? Oh yeah, 7 is 49. Okay, so do that. It should be fun. And then there's 2 practice problems below here, what we were doing last week, just addition, more practice. Make sure you put your estimate on this line here and tell me the exact answer right there. You likely will need another piece of paper, so to do that, click that button right there, and then click this and add a page so you can have a blank page below. Okay, so try this and then turn it into